सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. Today's subject is dissolve into devotion. As I announced earlier, I'll talk on the sacred sentiments. First, I wanted to share with you all an important thing. About past life, I was doing research for some scientific evidences, references and researches. I got tons. And about the DNA, I was doing some research for evidences, the discoveries in the modern day, and I was trying to do some research among this in the scriptures. Is there any reference and all that? I had lot from both sides. Same way I started some scientific research, some evidence, some discovery in the line of bhakti. In the Western world, in the Western civilization, in the modern scientific trend, please understand, it is such a sad thing, not a single reference I could get. Not a single reference. I have my brahmacharini to do research. Apart from that, I spend little time on my own. I could not get a single modern day scientific research or discovery or study done on devotion. Please understand, there are tons of researches on prayer, but you need to understand a major difference between bhakti, devotion and prayer. They are completely two different things. There are tons of researches done on prayer. How prayer heals the body, heals even cancer cells, heals the skin disorders. But prayer is not bhakti, understand. Prayer is not devotion. Two big difference I wanted you to understand. The root of bhakti starts with our concept of God and origin of the universe. The root of prayer starts with the Western religion's concept of God and creation of world, origin of universe. Understand? In the Western religions, the origin of universe is God willed. Because of God's will, the whole universe happened. It means there is some part which created will and some part obeyed and happened. Please understand, in Vedic tradition, it is not. Vedic tradition, we are very clear, the consciousness decided to expand and enjoy itself. It's like understand, if you are 100 kg weight, the whole 100 kg decides to do something. There is no such thing as your brain decides, which is maybe few kg, for few people few gram. That's different. Only that few kg or few gram decides, and all other whole thing follows, obeys. No. In the Vedic tradition, if you are 100 kg, the whole 100 kg decides. So the consciousness consciously decides to become life or to radiate itself, to become many, to enjoy itself consciously. I think understanding the origin of universe will make you completely understand the difference between the prayer and bhakti. See, The Western concept of God and the origin of universe is there was a will, means one part decides, let there be universe, and the universe happens. Of course, the Western science, just yesterday I was seeing some of the researchers, I am shocked, still they go on maintain saying that life happened as an accident in the universe. I was really surprised. That is why they go on repent for life. If you believe life is an accident, it is not a conscious decision, then naturally you will feel you are an orphan here. You are pushed here, and anything you do will end in depression. When you think you are pushed into something, that place will be naturally hell for you. And in hell, how many air conditioners you put, how many fake gardens you try to create, finally it is desert. I saw in Dubai, all over they are trying to create garden. Finally it is after all a desert. Understand? It's like how much ever you try to create with the different things in the hell. A rock garden, stone garden, this garden, and air condition. Finally it is a hell. So your understanding about the cosmos, origin of the cosmos, plays a major role in your attitude towards the ultimate reality. So three concepts. One, the Western science. Still, there are some scientists holding on to the concept, life happened as an accident. No. Second, maybe middle level, Western religions hold on to the concept, somebody willed and all other things obeyed that will, and the world happened, the universe happened. But in the Vedic tradition we are very clear, consciousness decided consciously to expand itself and enjoy itself just out of consciousness and independent intelligence. Understand? In our Vedic tradition, it is not that brain decides and the whole body follows. No. The whole body, every atom, every molecule, every cell, every inch, every bit is independent intelligence. That is why the Siddha tradition is so successful in treating and curing the diseases. Still allopathy is not even able to imagine or conceive. Because the basic belief of Siddha tradition is every cell, every atom, every molecule is independently intelligent. Treat the whole. Anything happens out of whole. That is why very beautifully Upanishad describes Purnamata Purnamitam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Out of whole, the whole comes out. Even when the whole comes out of the whole remains as whole. Understand? If somebody commands and somebody obeys, then how can the commander and the person who is obeying can be one? How can the one remain as one even if the command is made and executed? No. The very concept of origin of the universe and God is different in the Western religions and in the Eastern religions. That is why the prayer and bhakti are totally different. Really. Bhakti is a flower with a clear understanding. This is from Narada Bhakti Sutras. Mukha svadanam 52nd verse describes about bhakti, the joy. It is like the experience of joy which a dumb man has when he tastes something sweet and who can't express it. It's a flower. Very beautifully. Bhagavatakara. Sukadeva was supposed to be the person who recited Bhagavata. Vyasa wrote, but Sukha shared with the world. First he recited to Parikshit, then the rishis from Naimisharanya hears. Some of the rishis questioned Sukabrahma. The Gopikas, the Krishna's beloveds, they also had a deep love, romance, very sweet experience with Krishna and attitude with Krishna. You call them as great devotees, but all the women who are serving Shishubala, you call them as prostitutes. What do you mean? There is no equality. You are prejudiced. Sukabrahma says very beautifully, the love and feeling connection, joy, Mathura Bhava, Gopikas have, is established on the understanding Krishna is ultimate. Jnana Varishta Bhakti. The bhakti flowers with the clear understanding. Understand? Bhakti has a deep root of understanding about the God and the origin of the universe. You just know this whole thing is consciousness, and you celebrate the very existence of consciousness. Prayer is totally different. Here, in prayer, it's like there is somebody, big boss, and who commanded, and everything happened. So there is some calamity. If you want to alter, reach to big boss, and he may veto power it and alter and relieve you. Understand? In the Ganges civilization, even the politics was done based on spiritual understanding. The Western civilization, even religion was done based on political understanding. See the whole thing, it looks more like a politics. King, ordering, and happening, something wrong, go back to king, beg, and he will correct it. I only feel sympathy for the brains out of which this concept of prayer came out. Maybe before the brain was completely mature, this concept of somebody was there and they created. Maybe I can say that this was a concept during the growth. But a fully developed brain can never perceive religion with the angle of politics. You see, this is the right concept for politics. Some head, hierarchy, and he commands and something is created and something is changed, can be altered. Okay, great. Amazing Egyptian political setup. But unfortunately, the same idea gets replicated into the religion. No. Understand? I tell you, the religion of fully developed brain is the religion which came out of Ganges civilization. When a brain is fully developed, you will realize the brain is not something separate, commanding. No. It is just the center of the synchronicity. Center of the synchronicity is not commander. Please understand. Center of the synchronicity means a consciousness which by its presence creates a beautiful synchronicity. By its presence, the whole thing is synchronized. Devotion is diving into the center of the synchronicity. I really feel deeply sympathetic towards the Western scientific community for still unable to grab or conceive the greatness of devotion and unable to get specimens who radiate devotion to do some scientific studies and researches and inventions and show it to the world. I was trying hours to Google some study on bhakti. Zero. All the study which is there is only on prayer. Devotion, bhakti. Please understand, all sacred sentiment is oozing out from the center of the synchronicity, not from the agony towards the origin. No. Center of the synchronicity. Jnanavarishta bhakti. Bhakti which blossoms with a clear understanding about the origin of the cosmos and God and us. Established in the clarity, basic clarity of who we are and what is all around us and what is the source of both. Sacred sentiments is sacred because it is out of understanding. Any emotional ripple happens in you out of misunderstanding is sentiment. Any emotional ripple happens in you out of understanding is sacred sentiment. If you think your father is going to be with you forever and cry for his sake, it is sentiment. Means out of misunderstanding. If you think your son is going to be with you forever and cry for that sake, it is sentiment. Out of misunderstanding, especially your daughter. It is out of misunderstanding, sentiment. If you think you are the center of the synchronicity, center of the cosmos, and have some sentiment towards it, it is sacred because it is out of understanding. Understand? Any emotional ripple happens in your system out of understanding is sacred sentiment. Your understanding about you, your understanding about the world, your understanding about the God, your understanding about the origin of the universe. Again, I come back to these 4 items. God, nature, human society, and you. These are the 4 major components. So, right understanding about these four and relating these four, relationship of these four. Any right understanding about these four and relationship between these four leads to sacred sentiment. Any misunderstanding about these four or relationship between these four, the emotional ripples created out of this misunderstanding about these four and relationship between these four is sentiment. So I am defining sacred sentiment. Any emotional ripple happens in you with the right understanding of these four: God, humanity, nature and self. And between these four, right understanding about each other's relationship. God's relationship with humanity, human society's relationship with nature, the nature's relationship with you, your relationship with humanity, your relationship with God. The understandings, with the right understandings, any emotional ripple comes is sacred sentiment. Bhakti is falling in tune with the center of the synchronicity. Prayer means begging, cajoling, trying to bribe whom you think as commander. Unfortunately, I really want to tell people who think there is some place called heaven, Kailash, Vaikuntha, and somebody is sitting or standing or lying. If you think, you will really feel cheated when you go there, or if you can go there. There is no will or willed. There is no commander and commanded. The origin enjoys itself out of its own independent intelligence. Very beautifully, Ramana Maharshi describes the Parabhakti. Bhava balattinal bhavanadida sat bhavathirutthale undibara Parabhakti tattvam undibara. Strength of the bhava, with that going beyond the bhava. See, first we may develop a feeling connection with the deities. In the bhava, you see Shiva is there, Devi is there. With that strong bhava, You will experience those forms. With that strength, going beyond the bhava, bhavanadida sadbhavatirutale undivara. Going beyond just being in the sadbhava means the truth. The truth is there is no commander commanded. There is no Bhagavan and Bhakta. When the Bhagavan and Bhakta experience that they are part of the same independent intelligence, that is what I call Bhakti. When Bhagavan and Bhakta merges, that what happens is Bhakti. In my experience, I have always seen, only when the right understanding clicks, something starts bubbling in your heart, gushing. That is what I call Bhakti. Oh God, I was wasting my time so much with this foolishness. Whenever some great understanding happens, past just withers away from your system as a load. It just withers away. It's like some big cancer tumor with which you are suffering, just dried and fell out of your body. How you feel, oh God, I was supporting it so long, unnecessarily. I'm relieved. Out of that relief, something gushes in your heart. That's what I call Bhakti. Bhava balathinal bhavanadida sadbhavatirutale undipara parabhakti tattvam undipara. What a clear understanding about devotion. See, with this clear understanding, Ramana Maharshi says very clearly, with bhava, the strength of bhava, when you go beyond bhava and be in the sadbhava, the ultimate reality, that is parabhakti. Now, with this base, if he sings, ஆறு காவனை ஆண்டனை அகற்றிடில் அகிலம் பழித்திடும் அருணாச்சலா, it's Mathura Bhava. It is worth. When he says, oh God, for whose sake you took over me, and you now if you forsake me, world will abuse you, world will disrespect you. From that high understanding, when this emotional ripple happens, it is sacred sentiment. So the base for bhakti is non-suffering. Because any suffering you have means still the understanding has not happened. That is why I am afraid of the people who show their devotion to me, who still have suffering in them. Very beautifully Manikavasagar sings. He says, Putrilval aravum anjen. I am not afraid of the snake which stays in the snake hole. He describes, I am not afraid of this, I am not afraid of that. But he says, I am afraid of people who don't apply vibhudi, bhasma, a sacred ash in their face. He says, I don't even want to see them. I am afraid of people who show devotion, who still have suffering inside them. Because it is not out of understanding. Any time the sacred sentiment can become sentiment. When the sacred sentiment becomes sentiment, that fellow is cunning, dangerous, much worse than snake. And I really feel bad for so many ex-disciples. The only trouble is their sacred sentiment becomes sentiment. The understanding, before it became complete and matured, they missed it. That is why I always tell people, first thing, heal your suffering means come to the right understanding. With the right understanding, any bubbling, any emotional ripple happens will be sacred sentiment. Actually, Raman Maharshi is threatening Arunachala. Aru kavenai aandanai agattidil agilam pazhithidum Arunachala. If I have to crudely translate, for whose sake you took me over. Aandanai means you snatched me. In those days, the kings will enter into the new country and take away all the girls for their pleasure. That's the exact term Ramana Maharshi is using. You took me away. Aandanai. Agattridil. Now if you forsake me, throw me out, keep me in distance. Agilam pazhithidum Arunachala. The whole world will abuse you. He is practically threatening Arunachala, but it is sacred sentiment. Because it is out of a clear understanding. The non-suffering layer is established, the non-suffering foundation means a right understanding. See, to find out whether you have a right understanding or not, the scale is non-suffering. It's the scale. If there is a non-suffering scale, base, then any emotional ripple happens in you is sacred sentiment. You are Manikya Vasagar. You are Ramana Maharshi. You are Meera. You are Andal. But if there is suffering, even your devotion, I am afraid. A non-suffering base, that is foundation, means the right understandings have been clicked. See, the right understandings is the steel pillar on which the non-suffering beam, foundation sits. Anything built on that is temple. I'll reside there. But if there is a suffering, even if the palace is built on it, the divine will not reside there. So for sacred sentiment to happen in you, the bhakti to happen in you, the devotion to happen in you, the first step is non-suffering. Iron out your life. Either fulfill all your desire or reduce your desire. Either bring a complete understanding about all the four and among the four, or be very clear, you can't understand, so no question of trying to understand and harass yourself, forget about it. Come to some clear understanding, clarity. Either have a complete right understanding which does not give you suffering, or understand you can't understand and escape from it, which again does not give you suffering. But non-suffering, no suffering is the base on which the sacred sentiments can happen in your system. So, from tomorrow, I'll express the deeper and deeper dimensions of sacred sentiments. and different aspects of sacred sentiments. This is the base. The bhakti is the base. Then, out of it, so many different ways the sacred sentiments expresses. We'll understand about those things in the next session. I bless you all. Let you all experience sacred sentiments. Actually, in the sacred sentiment, if you just move one letter, the C moves in front of A, then it becomes scared sentiment. No, really, I'm telling you. One small missing can make sacred sentiment into scared sentiment. That is what has happened with many of our ex-disciples. The A and C got replaced. They just jumped over. If the agani is cured, it is sacred. Spiritual agani cured. If the cure does not happen, and the agani steps away, some misunderstanding, some confusion, then spiritual confusion agani. Yes, he is scared. Just a simple confusion. The sacred sentiment can become scared sentiment. Don't allow that. Suffering is responsible for that sacred to become scared, because the base is not proper. A non-suffering is the base for sacred sentiment and bhakti. Let you all experience bhakti, achieve and radiate enlightenment. Let you all achieve, experience, live, express and radiate the eternal bliss, Nityananda. Thank you.